Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Iconic Dollcast. My name is Sage. Welcome back to another episode all about dolls. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been so much fun this summer. And you know what? I cannot believe we are already halfway through the summer. Summer is my favorite season, and it always just goes by way too fast for me. I wish it could be summer all year long, but it is what it is. Today, I have Adriana on the show, and Adriana basically is what you would call a Barbie broker. She runs the Instagram account Pretty in Pink Barbies, as well as a wonderful Mercari shop where you can pretty much find any Barbie you could ever want for a very, very fair price. I think as doll collectors, we can all relate to the stresses of trying to track down Barbies from our childhood or even current Barbies that we really want. And I think we can also all relate to the massive frustrations of scalpers who jack their prices up way high to the point where they just sit on online markets forever. Adriana is not like that though. And she deals Barbies in a super, super fair way that I really appreciate. And also, you guys, Adriana is only 19 years old and she's already been able to do so much with her life and career. And I was so impressed by this that I absolutely had to have her on the show. This week's episode is the first of two parts about running a doll business. Next time, I'll be talking with Rachel Hoffman, who is incredibly well known in the doll community and owns her own doll shop here in Denver called Turn of the Century Antiques. As someone who runs a custom doll business, I thought it would be really fun to talk to some people who did something very similar to that, and both of these episodes are really great. I have 2 more episodes after this one coming this summer for all of you, and then I'm taking a very small break for the rest of August, but don't worry, I have some major things coming in September that I'm over the moon excited about, so definitely watch out for that. As always, please follow me on Instagram, Britney Spears Custom Dolls or Iconic Dollcast. Follow me on TikTok at Britney Spears Dolls. If you want to be on the show, I am now booking and recording episodes for the fall, so please reach out if you'd like to be on the show. If you're enjoying the show, please leave me a 5-star rating and a nice review. It really helps. It goes a long way. You guys have no idea. Thank you all so much for listening, and here is my interview with Adriana all about reselling Barbies. All right, everybody. Today I have Adriana on the show, and Adriana is what we like to call a Barbie broker, and I'm so excited to have her on the show today. She's done some really incredible things for all of us Barbie fans, especially us Barbie fans who are trying to get those vintage dolls that are just so hard to get a hold of. So, Adriana, thank you so much for being here today. Before we get into all the cool things that you do, why don't you introduce yourself to me, give me a little background information on yourself?
Okay. Well, hi, my name is Adriana. I'm 19 and I'm really excited to be here. I started my business at 16. Ironically, when I started my business, it was not for Barbies. I actually was baking like cupcakes and things, and the office that I'm currently in, I was going to turn into an industrial kitchen to cook out of, and I needed some money. So, and I've always been a fan of Barbies ever since I was a kid. Growing up, we didn't unfortunately have a lot of money, so I could never, have as many as I would like. I had a couple really important ones that I still have today. So I just kind of started thrifting, and then I bought a couple Barbies from this auction, and this one that like really stood out to me was the Legends of Ireland, the Bard Barbie. And I paid like $70 for her, and I saw like on eBay I can resell her for 140, and I was like, oh my god, like at 16, like that's insane. And I was working as a busser, so I had a little bit of money saved up, and I joined a couple Barbie groups on Facebook, and I saw this lady from Kentucky who was selling her entire collection, and I was like, oh my god, like I need that. And I asked my mom, and I was like, is it okay like if I buy these, because like it was a big purchase. It was I think $1,700. And I told the lady how old I was, and she was like, oh, and I'm like, please don't like think just because of my age, like I'm not serious about this. Like I am. And I was like, you could even talk to my mom. So it went, and we drove them up to New Jersey from Kentucky for me.
Oh, wow.
And within like, yeah, within 2 weeks, I sold almost all of them. And then I was like, wait, like this is like something I'm passionate about. And from there, it just kind of started.
That is so amazing. And you're so young. And I mean, that's so cool. First of all, that younger people are really into Barbie. And second of all, that you've just been able to kind of build this business for yourself at such a young age. That's really impressive. And so I mean, you said you had a couple Barbies when you were younger. So what was the first Barbie you ever got?
I think the first Barbie I ever got was actually like a hand me down from one of my sisters. I was always for them. I think they were so pretty, even though like some of them had like chopped hair and missing body parts. The one I remember the most was the entrepreneur Barbie. I actually bought her myself for Christmas and for birthdays. I always asked for like a Toys R Us gift card back when Toys R Us was a thing, and
Yeah.
rest in peace. And I would spend hours in that toys, like the Barbie section, and
Yeah.
I would look at each one and like figure out which one I wanted to spend my money on because I only had like a $25 gift card, $50 gift card, and I would save up those gift cards to like buy as many as I could. And like I remember even buying the Barbie Dream House with all the gift cards I saved, and that like I played with that for like I can't even tell you how long. Like my mom helped me build it. It was like that one's actually really important in my childhood too. But the entrepreneur Barbie, like I actually still have her. And then there was one, I think it was Pinktastic, all pink, pink hair, pink outfit. Loved her. I still have her too.
I love that. And so getting into your business, I mean, I'm sure you've learned tons and tons more about Barbie. So
Mm.
if just thinking about all the dolls that you've seen and you've sold and that have come through your office, what do you think your favorite Barbie era is?
I definitely want to say the superstar era. I mean, you can't go wrong. Like their
Right.
face mold, incredible. The clothing, incredible. I actually have a bin probably of over 400 loose Barbies, all from like 60s to 80s. And some of those superstar era Barbies are really cool. Like just the material they were made out of and the things that they can do. Like I have this one that like you press a little lever on the back and she like raises her arms. And I'm like,
Hmm.
from the 70s? Wow.
Yeah, so cool. And
Amazing.
I mean, it's just so cool to see how Barbie has evolved through the years. And, gimmicks aside, like it's just gotten cooler and cooler and cooler up until I would say about the last 5 years, but that's a different story.
Oh, I completely agree.
How does your business work? How do you get your stuff? How does it run? Do you consider it a full-time job? What's the deal with that?
Okay, so I do this. I'm also in school for mortuary, and then I work for my mom, who is in retail, and I've been like helping her run her store like since I was a kid. It's just always been me and her. And as time's gone, like employees come and go, but I've always been there, and that's where I learned a lot of my business from. Was from my mom, and I'm so grateful for her. And so how it goes, like I do school online because there's no way I could go in person. I don't have enough time, unfortunately. So like I worked for her from 8 to 5, and then after my office is actually right above her store. She owns the building, so like it works out really well. So then I run my business from like 5:30 to 9, 10 o'clock at night, and then I come home, do homework, eat, go to bed, and do it all over again. It honestly is a full-time job. I don't really sleep too much. I try to, but it's hard. Because and I have a lot of clients from all over the country too.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I've shipped to all 50 states, which I thought was incredible. I've shipped to Germany, China, Canada, Spain, Portugal, a lot of other places as well. And I have a lot of clients in Germany that like are repeat clients like every month, which is really exciting. And like when it comes to like finding the collections, I'll either post on my Instagram or the Facebook Barbie groups I'm in, like, hey, like looking for a collection to buy, or people reach out directly to me because like they know that I buy. It's pretty cool. Like for my 19th birthday last year, I flew to Kentucky to buy which ironically Kentucky was the first place I got my first estate from.
Right.
I got this huge 1,000+ Barbie estate. So I flew down there and had my sister's boyfriend drive me back. I obviously cannot drive a U-Haul. Very scary.
Oh yeah.
Big one. So we drove back with all the Barbies. That was a fun trip, expensive trip, but fun trip. And that was like the turning point for me. I was like, wow, I'm just 18. I'm doing all of this while still being in school and just doing all these crazy things. And then a couple months before that, US Sun like reached out to me. Like they're based off in California, and they did an article on me. So if you actually Google Barbie broker, I come up, which is really cool.
When you're buying these Barbies, do you generally just buy them in a big, massive bulk, or do you, will you just get one or two at a time? How does that work?
Usually it's a big bulk. I always try to buy at least 50 at a time. Like
Okay.
if someone has like a couple, I'm like, depending on the circumstances, because sometimes like I have a good heart and I feel bad for everybody. So like when like they're like, oh, like this is my so and so's collection and like I really need the money, and I'm like, okay. Like I bought this one estate a little more than I spent a little more than I wanted to, but it went for the person's mom's headstone. So
Oh,
yeah, like I felt like inclined to do so. And like I like to help everyone that I can. Like I feel like the Barbie community is such a helpful community and everyone's so kind. And I'm very grateful to be in this community. Like when I was a kid growing up, I started YouTube and I got bullied for it. So like I
ugh.
stopped. You know, this community was so welcoming to me. And I'm just beyond grateful. And if I can help everybody, I can. I mean, I know I can't help everyone, but I try.
Yeah, and no, I agree with you. I mean, first of all, I mean, that is really, I know it's probably sometimes really sad when you're having to do, deals like that, but at the end of the day, you really are helping someone. And then you're also helping other people get a hold of these Barbies that they want. So you should feel really good about that, I think.
Yeah, and that's like what makes me excited. Like I love Barbies and I wish I could keep every single one, but I know at the end of the day like they're going to great homes and they're going to a collection that like just needed that one last doll, or it was a doll that they had as a child and it got stolen, or it was their mom's favorite doll. Like I hear so many sad stories, and a lot of the times like these people lose their Barbies in a flood, a fire, they got stolen, their parents sold them, or their parents didn't approve of them and they weren't allowed to get Barbies until like older. So like it makes me feel good inside that I'm able to help others with that.
Yeah, and that's just one of the most special things about Barbies is that, I mean, sad stories aside, it just shows you how much Barbie impacts and means to people. And it's literally like this one plastic 11.5-inch doll can really, really turn someone around in the best way possible. So again, it's just so special what you're doing. And then, I mean, you kind of said something about this just a second ago, but has there ever been a Barbie that you've gotten and you're like, God damn it, I do not want to sell this?
I would have to say that's my number 4 ponytail
Ooh,
Barbie. And then I have the gold label Reem Acra Barbie, the bride, who is stunning. I
yes.
actually watched a deboxing of one from Australia, and like I cringed so hard when that Barbie came out of that box. I said, "Oh my god, what are you doing?" Just because like I love the boxes too. Some people like collect them out of the box. I love them in the box just because like the box is part of it. Like it's like the art. Some people think I'm crazy.
No, no, no. I totally get it. And just in this podcast journey that I've been on, there's all sorts of collectors out there, the inbox collectors, out of box collectors, both. As you can see, I like to debox my Barbies, but I keep all their boxes still. They're just in my garage just for space. I don't have that much space, but I do keep them because, yes, the boxes are special. I mean, there's nothing better than that nostalgic feeling when you get a Barbie, especially one that maybe you had as a kid and you hold the box and you're like, oh my God. You know what I
And
mean?
like, oh, I do. And like the 70s and 80s era Barbie boxes, like the art on them is just incredible. Like they should just be hung up in a museum at that point.
Agreed. And you know what? I think eventually they do need to make just a Barbie museum like that stays forever. I know they do a lot of traveling shows and stuff, but really, I mean, Mattel needs to, and they should have it right outside their office, to be honest. Just a Barbie museum that is there forever where you can see all this kind of stuff. Cause it's also very different seeing something online and then when you get it in person or you see it in person, it's a totally different experience.
Oh, I completely agree. And like my holy grail Barbie, that like I'm sure it's everyone's holy grail, is the number 1 ponytail. I have not come across one yet. And like that's kind of like I'm hoping, but like that's like, everyone's unicorn.
Oh, of course. And I mean, that is something I will never own. I am not rich like that. I mean, it's a dream. I've seen one in real life and it was like almost intimidating. Like the lady who had it was like, "Oh, do you want to she just is like handling it." And I'm like, "Oh my God, please do not. Like please put her down. Like you are stressing me out." But yeah, I mean, everyone wants a 1959 original Barbie, of course. My next question was going to be, what is the best part of reselling and running your business? And you've kind of covered that. I mean, with just, helping people out and being so young and building this whole business by yourself at such a young age. Is there anything else that really stands out to you about your job?
I don't think so. I really actually think I covered it all.
Yeah, but I do. I mean, I imagine I gotta actually, I can't imagine how much fun it is to just get these in and be like, wow, there she is.
It's like Christmas morning every time. Because like when I buy them, I always ask for pictures, but like of course, like I don't look through all the pictures because like there's sometimes so many, like three, four, 500 pictures, and I kind of just like go through them and like see the overall condition, and then I make my offer, and then when like I get them and I open the box, I'm like, oh my God, and like half the time I don't even know like what I'm getting, or I just forget what I'm getting because I get so many at one time. Like right now, my mom told me I need to kind of hold off on buying and kind of like I have so many. Hard to say no. It's like an addiction, and I
Oh
love
yeah.
Barbie so much that like. But she's like, you don't have enough space, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. Like I'm currently in three offices.
Oh
Is how much?
wow.
Yeah, like the one I'm in right now is my main one where I do all my shipping. I have some more in here. Like I do my whatnot shows in here, and then I have another one that's storage, and then my last one is complete storage. Like it's like a shopping center almost in there. It's incredible.
Well, I was going to ask you, do people like who live in your area, do you ever let them come in and see what you have? Do you ever do any in-person sales?
I used to in the very beginning, but like I'm gonna be honest, some people are kind of scary. Like I've had some
Understandable.
weird experiences, and like my mom was like, listen, I don't think you should do it. I don't want anything to happen to you. And I was like, okay, understandable. Like I completely agree. And then like sometimes like people are just really rude, and like they just try to hackle even though like we agreed on a price, and like they're like, well, it's damaged. I'm like, because you're like holding down on it. Like I don't. So I honestly I prefer online. I feel like that's like the best thing. This is what our generation is. And online, I feel like people are a lot more nice,
Yeah.
considering.
Yeah, I could see that. And I mean, I just went to a doll show and I'm not that I don't like to like bargain for things. Like I feel awkward about it. Like especially at a doll show where you're like even though you're like supposed to do that, you're supposed to be like, well, I'll give you this and whatever. I always feel awkward about that. So I can imagine, especially with just the amount of Barbies and the different kinds of Barbies you have. I could totally see that happen. And that kind of brings me into my next question. Obviously, we've talked about the positives, but as someone who also runs a doll business, I know that there are some difficulties in there too. So, what would you say like the most difficult part about running your business is?
Honestly, I think the most difficult is like people like not understanding like the value of Barbies, and like they think it's just a plastic toy, and those are obviously like, the not collectors who just want everything for $1, which is really unfortunate. And like when I try to explain to them, like they just don't get it. And recently, I had this person message me on Macari. I have a Princess and the Pauper like carriage set, and they're like, I don't understand. Like the box was a little damaged. I even put that in the description. They're like, it's just a plastic toy in a giant box for this price. And I'm like, I don't think you understand like the significance of that movie and those Barbies. And like people also try to like they send offers that are so like insulting that I can't even respond. And like they get mad at me when I don't, but I'm like, I don't think you understand. Like that is like a slap in the face. Because I try to be like I don't price my Barbies like so high that like no one can buy them. I try to be fair. I do my research on each one. Like depending on condition, obviously, like if it's better, it's more. If it's less, it's like if it's not as good, it's less. Like so, I try to be really fair. And some people just are not nice, and then there's times where they'll try to do like the good old switcheroo, and I'm like, no, you're not sending me back a doll that like no. And like that's what gets me too, because I just can't understand like why these people just do this kind of thing.
Oh, I mean,
Um,
it's just selfishness. And it's so interesting that people would even try to do that with you because clearly it's very clear you know what you're doing. And like, if someone's going to try and switch, like, how would you not notice that? I would just be like, there is a no return policy. Absolutely not.
I know, like, so I am debating on like making my own website, but like it's hard because everything is one of ones. So it's not like I have 30 of the same one.
Right.
So it's difficult on like that aspect. So, like I sell on Macari, I sell to my Instagram. And like with Macari, like they do returns even if like the seller doesn't want to. And now like they have the whole policy switch, which some people hate. I actually am all for it. On the aspect of like I actually make more money for once. Because
Hmm.
like what people don't understand is like I source the Barbies, I do the research, I clean them, I package them with like the utmost care. And like that's all knowledge and just experience. Like that's and for like me to like sell a Barbie for $100 and I get like $80 for it. Like I get it. Like that's the part of selling, but like for Macari doing this and like I looked as like a buyer buying something and the fees aren't that bad. Like the buyer fee and like I'm like, so I don't really understand what people are complaining about. Like if you were to buy something for like $700, that's different. The fees are more. But I'm so actually really excited about it because I worked so hard and to finally get like a payoff for it, like it's a good feeling.
Oh, I'm sure. And just going back a little bit to what you were talking about, how people don't understand the value. I feel like, especially in the last couple of years, but especially since the Barbie movie has come out, like all of a sudden it's become like super trendy to collect dolls. And it's like, all these people are buying up stuff and again, so I sell custom Britney Spears dolls. A lot of them are custom orders, which is great because I have set prices on those, but sometimes I'll just make them and I'll throw them on eBay or Mercari. And I totally feel what you're saying when someone offers like $70 for something and I'm like, look, I spent like hours on this piece of art. And it's like listed for $130 and you're gonna offer me like $60. Get out of town. Like it is like a slap in the face. But then also just with this uptrend in Barbie collecting, I could see, so many they like you said, they just don't understand like the value, the meaning behind this stuff. So I can imagine just because I can relate, it's just super frustrating.
Yeah, and like the crazy thing is everyone that I know or just people in general, they're like, "Oh, you sell Barbies. Oh, is that because of the Barbie movie?" And I'm like, "Actually, I was a trend before the trend. Like I did this out of a passion. I mean, it was an accident. It was a happy accident, which I am so grateful. Like I said, I was baking cupcakes and now I'm in the world of Barbie. And another crazy thing too, like when I first started at 16, I was in high school. I was during COVID. So thankfully I wasn't in school. Like I was on my computer doing Zoom and stuff and like half the time, never paid attention. Not a fan of school. I've always been like the world of business. Like that's always been my passion. Ever since I was a kid, I always started like little businesses and things. Like when I first started out, everyone doubted me. They were like, "You're never going to make it selling Barbies. Like no one buys them." And like I didn't listen. Like when I was bullied in middle school for making YouTube videos and I quit, I'm like, I can't do that again. Like that's not fair. Like this is something I want to do and I'm gonna push through. And everyone after like a year or so, they were like, we're sorry. And one of the people was actually one of my sisters. But we weren't speaking at the time. And she was telling my other sister that like I was never gonna make it. I like this is a joke. Like who's gonna buy these Barbies? And all this stuff. Not we're good now, but she she apologized to me after the fact, and I said, see, like just like you shouldn't put someone down just because like their views are different. Like this is my passion, and there's a whole world of people that are also passionate about this, and you just don't see it because you don't understand.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, again, so relatable. I mean, when I started Britney Spears custom dolls, I mean, I have a lot of people in my life that I actually ended up just cutting out because I mean, I have a regular 40-hour a week job and then I do the Britney stuff on the side. And there's quite a few people that kind of have the same view. And I think where like, oh, why are you wasting your time doing this? Like, no one cares, blah, blah, blah. Well, 40,000 followers and $800 sold later. Like, eat my ass, asshole. Like, these people, sorry to get graphic, but it is something that really, really pisses me off because it's like, I almost feel, and we talk about this a lot on the show, I feel like a lot of people, when they see someone doing something they love, they get really jealous because they're not doing something
Hmm.
they love. And like just an example, like one of my I would have considered this person my one of my best friends for life, and she was so judgmental about it. And I'm like, okay, well, you're out here being in nursing school miserable. Literally, this girl is miserable. And you have the nerve to judge me for starting a business and doing something that I love. I love making art. I love Britney Spears. I love Barbie. I love dolls. And I have combined that all into one. And she was so judgmental. And I was like, honestly, like, fuck you. Like, I'm done. Like, we are done. You have no right to say that kind of shit to me. And honestly, she's still miserable.
Yeah, and honestly, like I love nurses; they're great. But and ironically, my sister's in nursing school.
It's definitely a thing. Unfortunately, my grandpa passed away recently, and
Oh,
we had a lot of issues. He was in the hospital for the last couple months of his life, and there was just so many issues with nurses and again, nurses do great work. I
they
appreciate
do.
them, but it's also like, if you don't like your job, you don't have to be here.
I
And that
completely agree.
and it's like, if you are going to do this kind of job, a nursing job, you should really love your job because this is sometimes, most times, a lot of times, life or death situations, right? And there are family members. And I mean, I spent countless nights overnight with my grandpa and just seeing how miserable these people were. And it's like, okay, I get it. I get it that you do a good job. But if you're not happy, you can go somewhere else. And that's tying back to the whole judgment thing of having a Barbie business or a doll business. It's like, at least I'm happy doing what I do. I'm not like coming home crying every day because my job sucks.
I completely agree. And so I'm also a volunteer firefighter, which I haven't been as much on calls because of just how busy I am. But like 16, 17, I was like all about it. Like I even went through fire school, so I'm a first degree firefighter, so I can go in burning buildings and things of that nature. And I also did a lot of EMS work, and that was something I was very passionate about, and I still am. But like and I also like when I was like younger, I had some things happen like most people do growing up, and it kind of like puts you in a mindset like you don't know what you want to do with your life, but you kind of like want to do something where like you help others because like you know what it's like to be at your lowest. So that's like where I was kind of like figuring things out. Like I really thought I was going to be an FDNY firefighter or even like an FDNY EMT. And because I've always had a passion for helping people and I just didn't know how or like how I wanted to do it. And then hence why I'm in mortuary school because like it's not a job for everybody and it takes a lot of compassion and like those families are at their lowest and I understand and like I want to be able to help others and then tying back to the whole Barbie like that all like help others build their collections and make memories and just it's a really incredible thing.
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, the joy it brings to people, like judgmental people, they just don't understand. Like, someone could be going through like the worst. I mean, my grandpa just died, and the first thing I don't know if you ever got into American Girl. I'm sure you're aware of the
Mhm.
brand, of course. And so when I was growing up, I had a lot of American Girls, and my favorite one was Molly. And the reason she was my favorite was because she kind of grew up in my grandpa's era. So when I got Molly, it was his idea, and we read all the books together. And after he passed away, everyone deals with grief in a different way, obviously. And, everyone just kept saying, like, you just got to do something to keep yourself distracted, do something for yourself. And so I decided to buy Molly's entire collection, which is not cheap, but
No.
I was working with a seller who I kind of explained the situation. I was like, look, I'm looking for this. Here's why. And she gave me such a great deal. And just getting that stuff, like, I was like, you have no, ooh, I don't want to get like emotional or anything, but I was like, you have no idea how much this means to me. Like, I know it's silly for some people, but like this really like helped me. And so it's just crazy how much dolls can be, you know, almost like therapeutic in a way for people to help them get through things, you know?
I completely agree, and I'm really sorry for your loss.
Yeah,
Loss
it
sucks.
sucks.
Like
It sucks. There's nothing else you can
I
say, you know? Like,
no, and I unfortunately lost both my grandparents when I was younger, so I don't have any grandparents. And my mom always says, like, oh, if Pop was here, like he would help you with your Barbies because like he was always into like thrifting and auctions and things of that nature. And I'm like, I know, but you know, he's not here. So doing it by myself.
yeah, but he's
I
always there.
wish.
He's always there, you know what I mean? And that's how I look at like my grandpa was an architect and an artist, and so now every time I make a Britney Spears doll, I'm like, Grandpa, is this one good? Like, you know, just I know he's always there. So just I mean that was heavy, and that's what a podcast is for. And I seriously thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate it because it makes everything just so much more relatable. But moving into other things, not necessarily more positive, but what are your thoughts on people who do kind of the same thing as you, but they jack their prices up way high? Because I did look at your store and I was like, wow, like these you do really price your stuff very fairly, and that's very rare, especially now like getting some of these Barbies, people will, you know, I mean, I went to this doll show, like I said earlier, and I found a couple Barbies that were on my list. And I was like, oh, thank God I got them here. One of them was like $20. And I'm like, someone is trying to charge me like $480 for this. So, what are your thoughts on people who do that kind of thing?
I hate it. And like I wish like I could like meet every single one of them and just kind of slap them all in their face because like it's not fair. Like I get it on their end, they want to make a quick buck, but like at the same time, like they're the reason why doll prices are so high. Like I try to be in the middle or as low as I can because I buy my doll. Like I don't make a ton of money on my dolls. Like I don't like quadruple my profit. If anything, I double it if I'm lucky. So like I try to buy dolls between $10 to $15. Like sometimes I get lucky with like the higher end ones that are obviously more. But I always try to be very fair. And when I see people that like sell like my favorite, which I know like they just don't understand, is like Happy Holidays. That's like they put on for like $500, $1,000. They just try to be greedy and like think that's like what they're gonna get for it. But like some of the more rare ones that like they just quadruple the prices for no reason, just because they're like, okay, someone's desperate enough, they're gonna probably buy it. And the worst part is someone does because they're like, oh my God, I'm never gonna find this doll again. And then there goes like the whole price margin, then it goes up and it's just like a whole thing. And I hate it.
Oh gosh, it's the worst. And I mean, those holiday Barbies, I'm like, these are worth like $5 at most. These are mass produced. And the other thing about these sellers that, you know, really heighten their prices and stuff that I don't understand is most of the time, those dolls just sit there. No one buys them.
I know. And like you would think at that point, like you would do some more research or like lower your prices, but they just let them sit there because someone will buy them at some point. And I'm like, that's not really how it works. Like you kind of have to be fair in the market. Like it's like if and like with jewelry, for example, someone could make something and it could be worth like $1,000. They try to sell it for 10,000, and like they have it sitting in their showcase for that much, and it's going to sit there because no one's going to pay that for something that's not worth that. I don't know.
It's the craziest thing. And it's just like, in those situations, making an offer seems fair to me because it's like, okay, I'm not paying 500. I mean, I've been watching this Jewel Hair Mermaid Christie version on eBay for like 5 years, and this person has not budged on their price. And I'm like, don't you like, isn't the point to sell this? Like, I'm so confused. It just makes no sense.
I know. I'm like, do they just like to just stare at it and just I don't know.
It's
I
really
don't know.
weird. Okay, this is kind of a maybe a difficult question. Is there like a common Barbie or a couple Barbies that you often are getting in that people want, or like just anything that comes up quite a bit for you?
So that can go both ways. Like there's ones that come up a lot that I low key kind of hate just because I have so many of them. It'd be Happy Holidays, the Olympic gymnast Barbie. I
Love
can't even
her.
I can't even tell you how many I have.
I direct a gymnastics gym.
Cool.
That's my full-time job, and I had those the 1996 ones, right? yeah, from Atlanta. So I had those as a kid and I always wanted to be a gymnastics boss. And I told myself when I was like 8 years old, like when I get a big job, like these are coming to me, coming with me to work. And I finally got that job and just putting those, getting those in there. But
Aw.
I had to get like a new redhead and she was like $3, but I understand. So what other ones do you have that are just,
I like Winter Velvet. Like so many of them. The Summit Barbies, the NASCAR Barbies, any of like the Olympic, like swimming ones, any of those ones. I swear I have so many. And just a lot of the happy holidays. Like 95, 96, 97. I think I have like over 20 of each.
wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, please, I don't want these anymore. And no one wants
Right.
them. But they
Uh,
are pretty.
They are pretty. Most Barbies are. One thing I think is interesting. So obviously, totally hair Barbie. Duh.
Oh my God, I love her.
Isn't it so interesting that, okay, allegedly, supposedly, this is the most successful best-selling Barbie of all time. It's sold the most. I haven't, I don't know when the last time Mattel updated that was, but apparently today in 2024, Totally Hair Barbie is still the best-selling Barbie of all time. And she's like low-key not easy to get.
I know. Like I got from my Kentucky estate last year. It's almost going to be a year in May. So I turned 20 on May 14th, which is really scary. I'm like, oh my God, not a
Oh,
teenager anymore. And so it was the beginning of May when I went and I got Totally Hair Barbie, Chrissy, and Skipper. And they sold probably within an hour of each other. And like staring at them, I said, "Oh my God, I understand the hype on them." Just because like there's something about like the neon and just like that dress and like that hair. And then say like another one that's very popular that like sometimes I can get my hands on and I sometimes can't are the Happy Family. Like the
oh yeah.
Midge, Alan, any of them. I can't ever keep them in stock when I get them. And like they're so cool too. And I don't like I get why they discontinued them, but like really, like get over yourself.
Oh, it's so dramatic. I was just talking to someone about just some of Ken's controversial moments, and the pregnant Midge came up, and it's so funny. Like you look up, like BuzzFeed has all this stuff, like the most controversial Barbies of all time. First of all, half of them I'm like, this isn't even like weird or controversial, and second of all, I think a lot of people like to say, oh, this doll was discontinued. And it's like, no, it wasn't. Like the Happy Family Midge doll was actually like really, really successful. And so was Earring Magic Ken. Like, I think Earring Magic Ken is like the best selling Ken of all time. So it's
Oh
so
my God, I
interesting.
love him.
He's so
And I got
cute.
like four of them when went like in that Kentucky estate, all in great condition. I think I sold them for like 65, $75 each. And I looked recently and they're like $140 they're selling for. And I'm like, wow, like from my like 65, $75 to 140, that jump in less than a year is nuts to me. Because I'm like, I'm sure someone listed it for 140 or 150 and it's sold. So it automatically hyped up the market. And then everyone was like, oh, he's controversial and this and that. So like, that goes up the price.
Well,
But I'm
again,
like,
and with the Barbie movie, like I mean, the Allen doll, I couldn't believe how that just, I mean, he got, a year ago, you could get an Allen doll for like $30 and no one cared about him. Then suddenly the Barbie movie comes out and people are spending like $275 on one. And I'm just like, this is crazy what this movie has done to dolls.
I know. I'm like, I love Alan. Like watching the movie, I was like, it is so perfect that he's in there. Do you think they're gonna make another Barbie movie, like with her like being a real human and like living life and or
I don't know. So you would think they would just because the movie was so successful. But I also kind of think they won't because I think it did what it needed to do. But I have questions. I want to know what happens to Barbie Land now that she's gone. I want to know all the things, of her in the real world. So I definitely think there's potential for a sequel. Because, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of unanswered questions there. Like, what happened? Like, once
I
this
know.
all was resolved. But I do feel like they're really trying to take this movie super seriously, as they should. And I
Hmm.
generally think sequels like that kind of dumb down the original. So I don't know. I think it could go either way, but I'm going to lean towards I actually don't think they're going to do another one.
Like I would think if they did one, it would just be because like the Barbie brand is hurting and like they kind of need something to give it back that boost because like what this movie has done for like the whole community, like the amount of merch alone is insane. Like the amount of brand collabs, I'm like I can't even keep up. I'm like my bank account, I can't because I
Oh,
wanted to buy everything,
tell me
but
about it, sister. I can't. I mean, but I will say, being poor aside, because of the Barbie movie, I loved last summer was like one of the best summers of my life. I didn't do anything, but it was just so cool for me to go anywhere. You can go to Burger King and Barbie's there. You go to the grocery store, they have 7 magazines about her. You go to Target and every section of the store has something Barbie related. I lived for it. But I mean, oh my God, the amount of money I spent and on the dolls, that whole catastrophe was just, and I'm sure I'm sure you had to have you done a lot of Barbie movie resales or anything?
So with that, like I try not to buy any newer Barbies just because I love older ones. But like some of my clients from overseas wanted them, so to try to get my hands on them, I feel like was impossible. And then like because they would put them up in the middle of the night
I know.
and not tell anybody. And I'm like, so like I told you like I don't really sleep much just because like my mind's always on work, school, and this and that. So like I just happened to be scrolling through Instagram and I said, "Oh my god!" So like they're so quick and bought as many as I could. A lot of them were sold out already, but I was like, at least I got something. And now like I have quite a few roller skating Barbie and Kens, and then got jumpsuit, and I can't get rid of them. No one wants them now because like they're so mass produced all of a sudden.
Oh, and
So
now Walmart has tons of them. Like I just went to Walmart earlier today and I was like, they've got so many. And I will tell you right now, I'm pretty good. Like I know what is a scam. I don't spend, if I think something's too expensive, like a Barbie, I'm like, hell no. Like I can get this for way cheaper. The only time I have ever caved into these flippers that charge absurd amounts of money was the roller skating Barbie because she sold out and I was like, no, I have to have her. Paid something like $65 for her and now I'm like, wow, this sucks. Like I should have just
yeah,
waited, but I couldn't. I couldn't.
I know because then like there's like that feeling that like you don't know if it's ever gonna come back.
But
And
some of
if
them
you
did
wait,
not. Some of them
I
didn't come
know.
back.
I actually can't wait for like the Ken in this sweatshirt. I'm Ken enough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I cannot wait to get him.
That was an interesting one. So I do think Mattel Creations, the whole made to order thing kind of I get it, but I also don't. So I ordered that one like months and months ago. It's not going to come until the summer. And then I also got the American Girl Barbie without realizing that it wasn't going to ship until November of this year. It's interesting how they're doing that. But do you think they're going to do any more Barbie movie dolls? I'm like, I mean, I guess they could still do Alan, but it's like, oh my God, I hope not. Like, I don't want any more.
Honestly, I don't think they will. I think what they have now is like it. Like because they made quite a bit. They made wave one, wave two, and then just all the other special ones. And like I feel like if they made more at this point, it would just kind of be a joke. And like it just like they did what they had to do for them. So
Yeah.
I think anything further just wouldn't work.
Yeah. Well, that kind of just talking about more recent Barbies, that brings me into my next question. So, like, what are your thoughts on where the Barbie brand is at today?
So I'm in a love hate relationship with it. Like I love the diversity. Is when I was a kid, like I've always been on the more chunkier side. I've never been like skinny. Like I've always wanted to be, but like I'm just built different, I guess. And like when kid and like they came out with curvy Barbie, I said, "Oh my god, like that is me." And like right there, like it actually made me feel good because as like a kid, like Barbie was always skinny and blonde and and I never was. So that was like a turning point for me. And I was like, wow, like I actually feel included in something. And like now, like they have the autistic Barbie, which I love. They have Barbies in wheelchairs. They have Barbies with alopecia. They have Barbies with prosthetics. And it makes me feel good because like I know there's people out there that want a Barbie that looks like them, but they never had that until now. And like all the Barbies with different hair types and textures and things of that nature, which I love that. But everything's so cheap with them because like Mattel has this program where you can send in your old Barbies that you don't play with, and like they take the plastic, melt it down, and make new ones. And you would think, because like you have to pay shipping on that unless they changed it. The last time I looked into it, like you send them in yourself. And like, you would think with all those Barbies that they're getting back, they would make the quality better. That like they're being cheap with it so they could try and make more money. But sometimes quantity isn't always the best. Quality is. And some of like the higher end, like gold labels and collector ones, like they're nice per se, but like for what they're charging, like they could be better. I ordered the because my mom wanted her the spring, like the 12 days of spring, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty, and I'm like hoping, because I didn't get the 12 days of Christmas ones. I just kind of felt like for the money, like they weren't anything special. My mom liked this one though, so I was like, okay, like I'll buy it for you because like I love you and like you want her. So I'm hoping on that end. Like the Mark Ryden collab, I think was like the best. I've like fell in love even more with Barbie. Like the Bee Silkstone, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I never got a chance to get the pink one because she sold out quick. And I have the black and white one, which for the money, I think I paid like $500 for them, 400, 500. They could be better. Like the quality on them, I'm just kind of like, I spent all this money. Like your box is prettier than the Barbie. But the B one was where it was at. So I don't know. I think Mattel like needs to kind of get their crap together and like not be so cheap because their clientele is not just children anymore; it's
Right.
adults too. And I feel like if anything, buy more Barbies than the children or the parents do for them because like they just I don't even know how to explain it to someone that like is like, why do you collect Barbies? Like it's just Barbie. Like you have to. Like there's just something about her. And like as an adult, I'm like, wow. And I think last year, maybe 2 years ago, I at an auction bought some Bob Mackie Barbies. Like they were
Mm.
loose, no box. And when I finally got them in my hand, I was like, oh my God, like I understand like what the hype is all about. Like the detail. And it's incredible. And for someone to just not understand and like to try to explain it to them, it's like impossible because like they have to see it for themselves or like feel it. Because I feel like it's also more of a feeling than anything.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And if you don't know Barbie, you're not going to understand it. And then going to that like cheap factor, here's the thing. I feel like, especially for those higher quality, like Mattel creations, like limited, like those better be quality because they're expensive, you know? I appreciate the diversity in the fashionistas line. I think it's great. I don't really get into them just because it's not my Barbie. It's not what I like. I do love these new like 65th anniversary like
Mm-hmm.
little fashionistas. I'm waiting for those new ones to come out. I can't wait. But I do feel like, everyone's like, well, they're so cheap. And I'm like, yeah, but they literally are cheap. Like you can go get a Barbie for $10, sometimes less today at Walmart or Target. Whereas I feel like when I was a kid, I mean, quite a bit older than you, but when I was a kid, Barbie was like 20, $25. She wasn't
Yep.
cheap. And that's when we were getting like cut and sell Barbie. She comes with all this stuff and all the gimmicks and whatever. And it was worth that. And I think a lot of people have a hard time realizing that times have changed. People are not willing to spend as much money on toys just because all the kids are not, they're into their iPads and all that stuff. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so when I see complaints about like the fashionistas and stuff, I'm like, I get it. Just don't buy them. But also, like, let's not forget that these are actually meant for kids to play with, and they're only $10. Like, you can't really expect them to put that much effort into it. But it is a bummer because, like I said, when I was a kid, every Barbie had multiple accessories and all this
Mm-hmm.
crazy stuff. But I too have a very like back and forth feelings with where Barbie the brand is at today.
And I feel like with the fashionistas, like the original, like 2009, 2010 era was like the peak for them. Because I was still like, I think I was like 10, 11, 12 at that time. And like, I bought fashionistas. I love them. And like some of the time, like some of the ones they get in now, I'm like, oh my God, like they're worth this much money. And like, I don't like all the Barbies I had for the most part as a kid, I donated. And I'm like, I can't even touch them now. And like, I'm only 19 and I'm talking about fashionistas, like anyone that's 30, 40 who had all of those incredible ones, they can't touch them now. So like I kind of feel like I wish I was like a kid in the 80s and 90s with all those incredible Barbies because like I can't touch them. Like I mean I'm lucky enough that I do what I do, but like I feel like it's like an impossible thing. And like I couldn't even imagine being a kid walking through like Toys R Us or any of the toy stores at that time and just seeing like the walls and walls of Barbie. Like that must have been just a dream.
Amazing. Like I wouldn't switch my childhood with any other era. I feel I got 90s Barbie, and let's be real, they were pushing out Barbies every week. And I'm like you said, I mean now like Barbie still has her own little section in each store, but when I was a kid, 1996, let's say. I mean, Toys R Us had like two full aisles of
Yep.
all different Barbies. Like they were putting out 30 to 40 of them at a time, I feel. You can never have them all. I remember all the time going to play with my friends and I'd bring my Barbies and they'd have their Barbies and we'd all have different Barbie. I think we all had totally hair Barbie, but like just so many different like just it was incredible. But again, it's just the way it's
Different
changes,
times.
it's so sad because I'm like kids today will never know what that's like, and it's a memory that I hope I never lose. I wish there was more like footage, and I mean you can find some, but I want like some really good cataloged footage of like Toys R Us in 1996. You know what I mean? To
Oh,
just see what it was like because it's just like I think 1996 specifically, I have like the most, I don't know why, but like 96, I have the most Barbies from that time and just like working out Barbie, hula hair Barbie.
oh, hula
Uh,
hair, so pretty. Oh
I
my
love
God.
her.
I love, oh,
She's right here. I love her so
oh my
much.
God. Yes.
Yeah.
I love her.
I love the long hair Barbies, obviously.
Oh my
Um,
God. Yes. Like there's something about them. It's probably because like everyone wished they had long hair like that. Like my hair is short, doesn't grow.
I
Like
have no
I'm and
hair,
my,
so
fair enough.
yeah, it was just an amazing time and people will never get it. But I do appreciate, Mattel's efforts and I'm glad Barbie's still around. I think Barbie will be around forever. People are
Yes.
always like, eventually they're gonna stop. And I'm like, I really don't think so. She's made it like 65 years at this point. I think Barbie is here to stay forever. And she's a cultural icon. She is a literal pop culture icon and she's a doll.
Exactly. And like the crazy thing is, so for my 19th birthday, so it was in May. Oh, obviously I'm gonna be 20 this year in May. My mom probably in like February or March bought a white Corvette, a 1988 C4, and she had it like wrapped, like wanted to get it wrapped pink for me, and like I had no idea. And at the time, like Barbie movie was still in production, so you couldn't get anything pink, could not touch anything pink. So like the wrap that like she wanted was like back ordered like a couple months. So right when the Barbie movie came out, I had a surprise birthday party, and she gifted me the car. And when I tell you, I almost fell over, and like that right there was like just, and it's a 1988. I was born in 2004. Like,
Oh my gosh.
so like having a piece of that is just incredible. Like my mom's always been a Corvette fan, and she actually hates the C4 model. She just doesn't like the way it looks. I think it's pretty, like with the blinky light. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, her name's Barbie. I mean, you can't like obviously,
Duh.
but like like I've been asked to do like a couple things like with the car for like events and stuff for charity, and like just the car in general, like it being pink, it being Barbie, just like brings a lot of people together because like for like car people, it brings them back to 1988 when that C4 rolled around. For kids, it's like, oh my God, that's Barbie's car. And then for the adult collectors, they're like, okay, that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna
Yeah, that's
lie.
amazing.
So
That's
yeah, I
very,
couldn't
very
even
cool.
believe that she did that. Like I still even can't believe it.
Oh,
But
well,
I just
it sounds like you and your mom are so close. I love that. And so, does she ever
we
come in
are.
and help you with Barbies and stuff?
It's honestly hard because of like her business. Like she's so busy that like and like when I do get Barbies and like, I always show her and I try to incorporate her as much as I can. And when she was a kid growing up, she did not have like her mom did not have a lot of money. It was just her. Like her dad like was in the picture, but like my grandma was just kind of So it was hard, and she didn't have a lot of Barbies or really any. She would always go to her cousins and stuff. Um, but like and any Barbie like she remembered that she had as a kid, I would always like when I found it, like I gave it to her. And I'm like,
Oh.
this I know is like gonna like fix the piece that like is in your heart. Like this one that I remembered the most was it was not Suntan Skipper. It was the Malibu Barbie, blue bathing suit, pink glasses. She had that as a like well, she had it as a kid, and it was she got it in 1978, so it was at a discount store because like that one came out in 1972,
Hmm.
and obviously like things happened, they moved around a lot, so she never like it got lost. So when I got my entire career of this, which is not long, all the Barbies that have come through my hands, like I, for the longest time, have not found one of them. And a couple months ago, I bought this really big estate from one of my guys that I know, and it had like all these vintage Barbies. I even have, I have actually haven't listed them. I have number three, number four, number five ponytail, some mod era ones, like all these other ones that I love so much. Like I don't really want to sell, but like I know at some point I have to, kind of thing. But there that Malibu Barbie was, and I gave it to my mom, and like she cried. So like
Oh.
I try to incorporate as much as I can with her.
That's great. Sounds like she's so supportive, and that's exactly what someone needs in life to succeed. So that's amazing. So obviously you sell Barbies, all the time, and so it sounds like you do keep some though, right? You
I
must.
do. If
Okay.
so, I have my own personal collection, and I'm also a huge Elvis fan. So I have all the
Oh,
Elvis Barbies. Like, yeah, everyone says I'm an old soul, which I mean, I kind of get it. I'm 19. I was a business selling Barbies and doing all the things I do. But like, ever since I was a kid, always loved Elvis. I was actually went to Graceland a couple times. Was on Elvis radio, with Argo, which love him. And then even I wrote a love letter like for Valentine's Day. It was a contest, and I won it, which was cool. And I got this huge like gift basket, and I still have all that stuff. And like the fact that like Barbie made Elvis Barbies, like incredible. Like any like pop culture icon Barbie has for the most part made. And that's what I also love about the brand because like they see like all these incredible people and they make a doll of them. Like I hope one day I have a Barbie of me. Like that'd be so cool.
you got to
But
make
like
one
I'm
for
not gonna,
yourself. You got to make
whatever.
one for yourself.
I, I'm honestly not that talented. Like I
Oh,
wish like my mom is an artist. I know, I swear my mom's an artist and like I have a shaky hand and I cannot like I wish I could do it, but like I know I can't. So like maybe one day I'll like have someone make one for me. But
you
like for
should.
now,
And you know what? They do so great with their like celebrity in person or impressions, whatever you want to call it. I wish they'd do a Britney Spears. Like let's and a Madonna. Like where are we? Where why have
I
those not
know.
happened yet? It's just crazy. And I have an Elvis doll too, and it looks just like him.
I know. And like there's the Elvis Barbies that are by Hasbro, which obviously they're not Barbies, but like they're Barbies, like let's be real. And then there's the one by Mattel, which obviously you can tell the difference in quality, but like overall, like they look pretty good. And like the
Oh yeah.
Priscilla Barbie, like it's incredible.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Okay, so I just have, one more question and then we'll wrap things up. What I think you might have said it in the beginning, and I'm gonna assume it's that first one you got, but if not, or let's say, what are your top two favorite Barbies of all time?
oh, that one is it's that one's hard. So it's definitely gonna be the entrepreneur Barbie because like I resonate with her so well. Like, ironically, my mom has a Facebook post from like when I was a kid when I bought her, and I told her that I one day like I'm gonna be her one day, and here I am, and I'm like, oh my god, like that's insane. And I don't know, like my second, like there's in my office right now, and I'm like, there's so many. Like I love the princess ones, like the Cinderella, Rapunzel, like the Reem Acra Bride Barbie is incredible. Vera Wang brides, oh, amazing. A second favorite is tough because like there's just so many incredible ones that
It's
like
hard.
every time it is because like each one kind of like ties at my heartstrings a little bit and like has like its own special meaning to me like when I get it or like special memory or something like that. So like it's tough to try and even to justify picking like my first favorite. Like that was a hard one, but that one was like my childhood. So like that one like right there.
No, I love that. I mean, and I think it's You love what you resonate with, just like why I love, those gymnastics Barbies, even though they're just littered all over the world, but I love her so much. Um, and then actually one more question. So what are your goals with your business? What do you plan to do in the future?
So I still always want to continue my business. I love it so much. I also like thrift clothes and stuff because like that's like another passion of mine. I think it's so much fun. So like running a business is like what I want to do in life. Like I said, I'm in mortuary school. And like my mom pushed me to go to school. She was like, listen, like you need a degree in this world. And I'm like, well, do I? Like
I have a degree in Barbie.
exactly. And like from work, like working with her my entire life, like I have so much business experience that like, and like even with school, like some degrees, like being a doctor, like you need a degree. Like I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you need a degree. Mortician, you need a degree. But like for business, like you learn it as you go. And like I've learned so much at such a young age, and like I have so much work experience. And so like I don't know, like by the time I finish school, if I had to cut back on classes quite a bit just because like I am so busy that I can't keep up. So I'll probably be like, I don't know, 90 when I graduate.
Take your time. That's the biggest. So I took forever to finish college because I did not. I was like, listen, I'm not going to waste money on this. I have so much else going on. I got my elementary teacher's license. I'm not using it because I just stuck with gymnastics. I kind of wish I would have done something else, but I did take my time. And I think that's honestly the best thing you can do for yourself.
I completely agree. Like I like with high school too, like I wanted to drop out and just work. Like school's never been my thing. Like I've always been like a straight A student, honor roll student, never studied, never did anything. It just came easy. So like I just wanted to get my GD and just work. But like my mom was like, you need a degree, like all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And like it's better just to do it than argue because I love my mom so much and
Yeah.
I don't want to argue. So like it just by the time I finish, if I'm gonna do it, I don't even know where like I'll be in life when I graduate. And like there's like the random chance that I might like take over my mom's business because I'm so good at that. Like I don't know. Like I have so many like that I could do. It's just gonna like narrow it down and like or really because I believe everything happens for a reason. So like whatever happens, I guess, is gonna be like what it's gonna be.
You think Barbie will always be involved in that?
Oh, 100%. Like
Love
even
it.
if I'm a mortician, like I'll be a mortician by day slash night and then Barbie in between.
I love that. I
He's like
love that.
they need to like make a mortician Barbie. Like they don't have one. They have all
Like,
these career Barbies, but no mortician.
come on. It's a little dark, but that's okay. That's okay. They've got Dr. Barbie.
Yeah. They have Dr. Barbie with 3 babies.
Yeah,
So like
for sure. Well, Adriana, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. This was such a great conversation. I know we were kind of all over the place, but what a great discussion. We got super deep, we got super happy, we got super angry, and I love it. That's what makes a great episode. So please tell everyone where they can find you on the internet so they can look at the Barbies that you have for sale.
so you can find me at Pretty and Pink Barbies on Instagram and in my bio I have my link tree, which you can find me on Whatnot, Macari, Poshmark. There's a couple fakes of me out there, but I like
Oh,
currently
that's
have
when you know you've made it.
27,000.
That's when you know you've made it.
Yeah. I currently have 27,000 followers, which obviously I want to get more and just grow. But that's how you know it's me on there. 27,000 followers, Pretty and Pink Barbies, and I hope you guys become my next clients and I can help fulfill your Barbie needs and wishes and things of that nature.
Love it so much. Well, thank you so much. And we'll keep in touch because I got a couple Barbies that I need to get.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And
You're
it's such an
welcome.
honor.
Oh, you're so welcome. All right, that was so much fun. Adriana, thank you so much for being on the show. That was such a great conversation. It's always so nice for me. I never know what to expect when I have guests on the show. Every time I click with them, I don't know why I don't know what to expect, but it's always really nice when my guests feel comfortable enough to open up. And I mean, this interview got pretty deep, I think, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much. Please make sure you guys follow Adriana on Instagram, Pretty and Pink Barbies, and check out her Mercari shop. It's really, really fantastic. Like I said earlier, next time on the Iconic Dollcast, I have Rachel Hoffman on the show. Rachel has her own doll shop in Denver called Turn of the Century Antiques. She is massive in the doll world. She has a great YouTube channel. I always see her at all the doll conventions, and she's really great. It's a great interview, so look out for that. That'll be coming out on August 5th. As always, please follow me on Instagram, Britney Spears Custom Dolls or Iconic Dollcast. Follow me on TikTok, Britney Spears Dolls. I'm booking interviews right now for the fall, so if you want to be on the show, please reach out. You can hit me up on Instagram. You can email me at iconicdollcast@gmail.com. Please, if you're enjoying the show, leave me a 5-star rating, give me a good review. It really helps, and I will talk with you guys next time.